down to Havana 54-50. In a very, very tight contest that saw Havana doing a tremendous job at the free throw line. So we're going to see some highlights from that semifinal contest in just a moment. All right, Marty Simmons, who had 30 this afternoon, he launches that jumper about 17 feet, rattles around and in. That was the first bucket of the ball game, 2-0 Lawrenceville. Trevor Trimpe will now hit off the right wing, and that makes it 4-2 Havana. Trimpe will come back now from the left side. The 6'6" junior guard from Havana, he launches the long left-hander, nothing but net once again. It was 8-7 Havana. In the second quarter, Rick Leasty on a drive-in layup off the jump ball play, the opening tip of the second quarter. Now we're going to see Bill Anthony, the sixth man for Lawrenceville, bomb one in from the baseline. He poured in 3 of those this afternoon. Simmons will hit an 8-foot jumper, right side of the circle, to make it 30-24 Lawrenceville as Marty Simmons continues to roll along. In the third quarter, Trevor Trimpe will hit a 20-foot jumper from the side to make it 37-36 Lawrenceville. And then Trimpe will rattle in a jump shot to give the lead to Havana 38-37. Very, very tough semifinal ball game. Bounces around and rattles home. And then Simmons will score after a Harf's foul. He'll hit 1 and 1 to give the lead to Lawrenceville at 48-46. And as it turned out, that was the key bucket of the ball game as Lawrenceville led the rest of the way in a 54-50 victory over Havana. And of course, Flanagan defeated McLeansboro 39-34. Frank Massoni, I know you have been doing a bit of research on the records, the potential records, the Marty Simmons assault on the record book. Can you fill us in?
Well, one of the things that's very interesting is Marty Simmons has a couple of things going. I think it's out of reach for him to get the 50 points that he needs for the all-time. It's Mike Duff record in the career. He needs 31 points, I believe, tonight for that Duff record. Isn't that right, Keith?
That's correct.
31 points to break the one-season scoring record Mike Duff, the late Mike Duff, set in Illinois. It's the tournament record that's out of reach.
Needs 50 points to reach that tournament record. There's Marty Simmons right now. And we're just about set for the player introductions. And boy, the tension is building. So let's ease the tension a bit and go to the voice of the Assembly Hall and Tom Trent.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's championship game. For the first time in the 76-year history of the Illinois High School Association State Basketball Tournament, 2 undefeated teams meeting for the state title. Let's introduce you now to the coaches and players in this championship game. First, for the Indians of Lawrenceville High School with a perfect record, 33 wins and no losses. The head coach at Lawrenceville, Ron Felling. Number 10 is Jay Baker. Number 24, Jeff Joins. Number 30, Darren Blair. Number 40, Mike Shoulders. Number 44, Chris McKinney. Number 52, Keith Frohock. And number 54, Dave Parker. Now let's meet the starting lineup for the Lawrenceville Indians. Starting at forward, a senior, 6'4", number 32, Tim Leasty.
Tim Leasty, a solid frontliner, good rebounder, 13-point average on the season.
At forward, a senior, 6'1", number 15, Bill Anthony.
Bill Anthony, who did not start earlier today or yesterday, averaging 5 points a game, been a key reserve.
Starting at center for the Indians is senior, 6'5", number 50, Marty Simmons.
What can you say? 32.1 average, assaulting the tournament record books.
At a guard, a senior, 6 feet tall, number 14, Jeff Gear.
Gear, the playmaker, solid defender, 5.8 scoring average.
And at guard, a senior, 6'1", number 20, Ernie Ho.
Ho with a 12.3 average, good perimeter shooter, another fine defender. So that's your Lawrenceville starting combination. They are not starting Dave Parker. Instead, they're starting Bill Anthony. So in essence, going with 3 guards.
And now let's meet the Falcons of Flanagan High School with a perfect record of 30 victories, no defeats. The head coach of Flanagan, Jerry Poole. Number 10, Tim Tufte. Number 22, Jim Tarmid. Number 24, Scott Gehrig. Number 30, Brad Weekman. Number 40, Jim Mallory. Number 42, Lee Ringenberg. Number 44, Gary Karstens. And now let's meet the starting lineup for the Flanagan Falcons. At forward, a senior, 6'1", number 12, Matthew Shireen.
Matt Shireen, a 15-point scoring average, 15.1. Won it at the free throw line this afternoon.
At forward, a senior, 5'11", number 32, Scott Reese.
Our blue-collar ball player does the things that you don't hear a lot about, but averages 9.2, a winner.
Starting at center for the Falcons, a senior, 7 feet tall, number 54, Bill Braxick.
19.3 average, 14 rebounds. Need we say more?
At guard, a senior, 6 feet tall, number 20, Dan Perry.
Excellent perimeter shooter, a better defensive player, 6.1 average.
And at guard, a senior, 5'9", number 14, Brian Gundy.
And he's the guy that makes the wheels go around. Gundy with a 4.4 average, their ace playmaker.
The officials for this championship game are Don Brady of Neponset and Wesley Wilson of Havana.
And one of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. Anthony, Simmons, Gare, and Ho for the Falcons. Shireen, Reese, Braxick, Perry, and Gundy. This is the same combination that Ron Felling started the super sectional against Madison, starting Bill Anthony rather than going with his center, Dave Parker. So he'll bring Parker off the bench. Opening jump, Flanagan's got it attired in white. They're moving to your left as you view the action. And in their scarlet uniforms, trimmed in royal blue and white, the Lawrenceville Indians. Here's the feed to Braxick, the big guy for the dunk. Bill Braxick with a dunk, getting things underway. It's 2-0 Flanagan. And the assembly hall erupts on that move. Ernie Ho in the defensive zone being dogged by Matt Shireen of Flanagan. Here's Ernie to the 10-second line, brings it over. Shireen on him tough. Braxick playing man-to-man. He's on Leasney. They have Simmons down low, right side on Simmons. Man-to-man is Perry. What a tremendous defensive assignment for Dan Perry tonight. He is the premier defender for Flanagan. We'll see if he can handle Simmons. Simmons had 30 this afternoon. Simmons down low. Perry on him. Simmons to the hoop. Blocked by Braxick. Deflected out of bounds. Belongs to Flanagan.
Beautiful defensive help by Bill Braxick.
This could be a dandy.
Art, another matchup we want to watch is 2 number 14s. Neither one of them scored today, but they're both excellent defensive players and very important to their teams, being Gundy and Gear.
Yeah, Jeff Gear and Brian Gundy, 2 key performers. All right, Flanagan brings the ball across. The big guy, 7-footer, Bill Braxick, headed for Illinois State University. Picked up the first 2 points of the evening on a slam dunk. That's Shireen. Now to Gundy, right side to Perry. Both teams in man-to-man defenses to start this one. Ball deflected away, stolen by Lawrenceville. Here's Marty Simmons. Simmons down the lane, pulls it up, off the glass, in and out, back in. Let's see if it's going to count. A foul on Gundy. No basket. No basket, the foul on Brian Gundy prior to the Marty Simmons shot. And boy, can he accelerate. Watch him explode.
Marty Simmons on a one-man fast break, 1-on-3. puts it up, got the bucket, but he was fouled before the shot.
Inbounded now, holding high is Ernie Ho for Lawrenceville. Lawrenceville, winners of 67 straight. 569 the enrollment compared to 132 for Flanagan. Right side in the corner, Bill Anthony. Anthony just hands the ball back to Simmons. To Anthony. Flanagan playing the man-to-man defense, and on the switch, Perry moved out and had Ho. Now they go inside to Leasney. Leasney falls down. The ball is deflected right back out left side. Controlling Ernie Ho. Flanagan sagging back in the middle, almost playing his own defense, but it's a basic man-to-man. Here's Simmons. Simmons faces Braxic, turns, shoots, air ball, rebound. Scott Reese for Flanagan. The Falcons on the season 30-0. The Indians from Lawrenceville 33-0. Dan Perry. Pull-up jumper, no good. The rebound controlled by Tim Leasney. To the middle of the break, to Simmons. Save on the baseline by Anthony, but then deflected out of bounds. Matt Shireen tried gamely to get it after Anthony swatted it back in. And both teams really going at a furious pace here at the start. A little more rapid, I think, than either coach wants them to go right now. They want a little more control. Of course, that pent-up tension suddenly exploding out here after waiting for this title game. Ernie Ho, left corner, Leasney. Outer iron, Perry off the boards, picks it up, actually got it off the floor. Now to Matt Shireen. Shireen brings it across, 6'1", 165, a senior. He's being covered by Ho, rides off a screen by Braxic. Ho fought through the screen. Back inside to Gundy, to Braxic on the baseline. Bill shot a little bit short, ball deflected out of bounds. Actually, Scott Reese of Flanagan deflected it out, and the Indians will have possession.
You know, I've got a problem, Art. Ron Felling there has been one of my favorite guys for a long time. The last couple of years, I've gotten to know Jerry Poole, and I love him. I want both teams to win.
Well, that is a problem. All right, turnover. Lawrenceville turns it over, and with the basketball, Matt Shireen. Shireen brings it across. Right side. The caliber of young men in this tournament. Super again this year. It always is, but it's been amazing considering the competition. Scott Reese with the drive. Reese rolls it home. Lawrenceville has played 3 minutes of the ball game without scoring. 4-0. The lead belongs to Flanagan. From the side, Anthony, outer iron. Rebound, Scott Reese. Flanagan right now, Keith, doing what they do well. They're rebounding pretty well. They're working the ball inside effectively.
And they have to like the tempo of the game because they like that good, fast tempo.
Well, the last 2 ball games, certainly for Lawrenceville in this lengthy streak, have been airtight. Flanagan turns it over with an over and back violation. The path has certainly not been an easy one for either one of these ball clubs. Flanagan just blitzed through everybody, and they got to the assembly hall. Then they won their first ball game over Tiscalwa 51-33, but barely got by this afternoon against McLeansboro 39-34. Lawrenceville had an airtight one with St. Mel, which they expected, winning 56-54. This afternoon barely got by Havana 54-50. On the perimeter, Ho's shot misfires, rebound Braxic. To Shireen, Jerry Poole up with some words of instruction as Matt Shireen brings the ball across. Bounce pass to Brian Gundy. Gundy on the left-handed dribble, being crowded by Gear. Down low to Braxic, off the glass and in. Braxic now with a couple of buckets at 6-0 Flanagan. Across with the ball is Gear. Left corner to Anthony. Boy, Flanagan really packing it in. Looks like they're going zone.
They're looking at a 1-3-1 zone.
It's unusual for Jerry Poole. Doesn't use a lot of zone.
Played a man-to-man the entire season.
6-0. Flanagan leading. Of course, that zone is real tough for the Falcons with the 7-footer Braxic in the middle.
And they haven't played a Marty Simmons this season.
Simmons rolls inside and he scores. First bucket for Marty. Simmons with an incredible 32.1 scoring average coming into the tournament. He has done nothing but up that average since then. 6-2, Flanagan by a couple of buckets. Brian Gundy, pass intercepted. Picked off by Bill Anthony. Anthony brings it up for Lawrenceville. Back out front now to Ernie Ho. To Anthony, left corner. Let's see where Marty Simmons is. He's top of the circle, number 50. Keep your eye on Simmons. From the side, Anthony got it. Bill Anthony, Flax Warren on the perimeter, hit 3 buckets this afternoon in crucial situations against Havana. He got a starting assignment as a result.
From that very same spot this afternoon.
6-4, Flanagan by a pair. Lawrenceville digging back in defensively. The Indians still playing man-to-man. Flanagan has gone to the zone defense. Shireen, right corner. Shireen pull-up jump shot. Matt Shireen did not shoot well on the perimeter this afternoon. He just caged this one tonight to make it 8-4. Flanagan leads by 4, and when Shireen is shooting well, the Falcons, of course, have that outside dimension, which is so effective for them. Anthony cut off on the baseline by Braxton. Out to Jeff Gear, to Ernie Ho. Falcons really pocketed in, Keith.
That is a very tight zone, very tight zone.
Down low is Marty Simmons. They're having trouble getting the ball to Simmons. Now they do. Marty eyes the basket, squares up, but Perry is right in his face. Ernie Ho to Bill Anthony. Left side to Jeff Gear. Down to 1 minute and 53 seconds in a very rapidly played first quarter. Ho to Gear. Back to Ho. Out on him is Gundy. To Bill Anthony. They're having all kinds of trouble. Lawrenceville trying to find Simmons. The bounce pass to Simmons. 3 men on him. Gundy in front of him. Braxic behind him off to Leasty. They lose the ball. A steal. Scott Reese has the ball for Flanagan.
Excellent defensive pressure. You know, they're not going to be able to get that ball in there as tight as that zone is with a 7-footer included.
They'll probably have to put Marty Simmons on the perimeter, will Lawrenceville. Here's Braxic driving, whistle, and a foul. Braxic tried to put it on the floor. The 2-shot violation. Foul has been whistled on Jeff Gear, I believe.
Okay, as you watch the replay, watch the pass to Bill Braxic. Takes the ball to the basket, and he'll go to the line for 2 shots. You know, I asked Jerry Poole, I said, it looks to me like Braxic could score just about any time he gets the ball down low. He said they hadn't really been forcing the ball or even looking that much to Braxic down low this season. But I have a feeling that tonight's a very special game, and Bill Braxic will get the ball as much as he can handle it.
Braxic and Simmons are both, of course, on the all-tournament team, which we'll reveal when we have time.
All right, Braxic makes both free throws. And Flanagan leads it by 6. A timeout with 1 minute and 20 to go in the first period. Flanagan 10, Lawrenceville 4. And one of your network sponsors is Stauffer Chemical Company. 10-4 ball game with Flanagan leading. And Frank Bassoni, I believe you're saying Ron Felling told you this afternoon was what, the first time they had been behind all season?
That was the first time that they had trailed all year long, and now we've got him behind for the second time, and Flanagan's got him 10-4 down.
Yes, and I don't believe Havana ever had a 6-point lead on him. It was 1 or 2. So Flanagan playing extremely well, and their defense is the key. Lawrenceville trying to solve it. Of course, they've faced a lot of tough defenses in this fantastic streak of 67 wins, and interesting to see how Ron Felling likes to attack this with a 7-footer in the middle. Of course, that's a different dimension.
Now they're back to the man-to-man. Jerry Poole is continuing to change defenses.
Well, Jerry can do that with the quickness, and of course, the 7-foot goalie in the middle can do a tremendous job for you. Here's Marty Simmons against Braxic. Off balance, missed it, follows, no good. Rebound, Perry way up in the air, and he was fouled by Marty Simmons. Simmons picks up his first personal foul. Boy, did Dan Perry get airborne on that defensive board and pulled it down, then Marty made contact with him.
Okay, Marty Simmons pulling his way under the first time, doesn't get it. Intimidated by Braxic, goes back up again, and there's the foul on Simmons.
Back to live action. Lawrenceville steals. Ernie Ho with the ball on the right wing. See where Marty Simmons is. He slides in behind Braxic. He's in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Now he's got it. Comes out of traffic. No, that wasn't Simmons either. That was Leasty over there. I beg your pardon. Simmons is now rolling to the left side. In the corner, there's Simmons this trip. Bullseye. Marty Simmons, high-scoring Lawrenceville frontliner. They're swinging him right to left to try to beat this defense.
He'll have to do that against the zone in particular.
10-6 ball game. Flanagan's lead has been narrowed to 4 with 20 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Flashy little backliner, Brian Gundy, the playmaker for Flanagan. Bounce pass to Scott Reese. Lawrenceville really applying some defensive heat, playing the good solid man-to-man with 9 seconds to go in the quarter. Flanagan's Braxic holds it. Comes cross court to Shireen. Long-range jump shot. Back iron. Rebound, Tim Leasty. And that's it at the end of 1 quarter. Into the first period here in the Assembly Hall in the battle for the state Class A title. Flanagan 10, Lawrenceville 6. And one of your network sponsors is DeKalb Pfizer Genetics. 10-6 ball game. Flanagan leading by 4 at the quarter.
And our sponsors are happy to be able to bring you these tournament games on television. If you like the games, if you have comments, we'd like to hear from you. Just write high school basketball, Box 678, Bloomington, Illinois, 61701. Box 678, Bloomington, 61701.
Lineups remain the same for both ball clubs. Braxic jumping against Simmons. Simmons leaped up and hit the ball on the way up. And as a result, Flanagan to get out of bounds. Marty was trying to get a little edge on the 7-footer Braxic.
Good try.
But the officials, Don Brady from Neponset and Wes Wilson from Havana, nailed it. Flanagan's Falcons with the basketball. Here is Gundy. Gundy, right side now to Scott Reese. Cross court to Shireen, 4-2. Big play, cross court alley-oop.
Excellent pass.
Flanagan 12-6 over Lawrenceville.
Now 1-2-2 zone.
Gear to Ernie Ho. Gary Poole's pulling out all the defenses. Of course, they're playing for all the marbles. Leasty posting high. Marty Simmons having trouble getting the basketball. It's that simple, and Simmons swings to the right corner with Matt Shireen on him in that portion of his own defense right now. Now Simmons roaming the baseline left. Taking the perimeter shot is Ernie Ho. Tipped by Leasty, no good. Leasty follows against Braxic. Deflected by Braxic. Swatted back out front to Ho, to Simmons. Off the glass and in. Marty Simmons really having to work for the basketball thus far, and it's 12-8. Flanagan leads Lawrenceville by 4. We're in the second quarter. Well out on the floor, Matt Shireen. Shireen being covered by Ernie Ho. He drifts right. Checked off. Ho still with him. Gear out on Brian Gundy. Now Braxic being covered inside by Simmons. There's a drive by Reese. Can't get it down. Rebound comes off. Controlled by guard Jeff Gear for Lawrenceville to Tim Leasty. Leasty brings the ball across. Now Marty Simmons slides to the right corner against his own defense. He's open in the right corner, but they're not reversing the ball to him very rapidly. Ho to Gear. Gear, long jumper, misfires. Braxic with the board. Braxic rips it down over Bill Anthony. 7 foot, 250 pound senior veteran, averaging 14 rebounds a game. Very, very strong on the inside. Played here and lost in the quarterfinals last year to Hersher and the University of Illinois, Scott Mintz. But he has really come along in a year. Gundy to Shireen. Shireen leans in with a jump shot, and Marty Simmons has the board for the Indians. Lawrenceville looking for its 34th win without defeat this year. Its 68th straight victory. Anthony shot, outer iron, no good. Flat-footed rebound, Shireen. And Matt Shireen is going to slow down the tempo a little bit. Walks to the 10-second line. That being covered out there by Ernie Ho for Lawrenceville. Shireen looking inside, now goes to Braxic. The big guy holds it out on the perimeter. Braxic has the ball stripped away, stolen by Marty Simmons. Here's Simmons up for the Indians. To Tim Leasty. Leasty's going to go all the way. His shot misses, and let's see how they're going to call the foul. It's going to be the block on Shireen, probably. That's it. All right, let's take a look at first period stats. Lawrenceville shot just 30% on 3 of 10. Flanagan was 4 of 7, 57% shooting. Lawrenceville no free throws. The Falcons made both of theirs. Rebound 6-4 edge to Flanagan. Turnovers. Flanagan 3 and Lawrenceville 2. The blocking foul was called against Shireen. At the line, Leasty shooting 2. Lawrenceville has not been a good free throw shooting team in this tournament, Keith. In fact, this afternoon, they were just 12 of 24 against Havana.
It was almost their undoing this afternoon.
Leasty with one more throw. Got it.
Art, they shot 63% on free throwing for the entire season.
Which isn't too bad, really. Told you like 70, but anything close to 65 isn't too bad. But they have been cold at the line in tournament play. 12-9, Flanagan by 3. Shireen well out on the floor.
Now we see a Lawrenceville zone defense.
Looks like almost a 3-2. Here's Gundy to Braxic. Big guy turns off the glass in. Braxic has a magnificent touch.
I think Braxic would welcome that 3-2 zone.
14-9 Flanagan by 5. Not quite to the midway mark in the game's second quarter. Marty Simmons from the corner misses it. Rebound Shireen. Shireen and Leasty in a great battle for the basketball, and Shireen for Flanagan comes down. Leasty intercepts. Intercepts the outlet pass. Here's Ernie Ho reversing. Ernie Ho with a spectacular reverse layup, and it's 14-11. Flanagan lead cut to 3.
He deserved that basket because he set it up defensively.
Flanagan really putting the pressure on now. I should say Lawrenceville, kind of three-quarter court type of press at the moment. On the drive, Reese. Scott Reese got it. 16-11. Flanagan by 5 as the Indians trying to get over that 5-point hump, and thus far Flanagan's been able to respond to the heat. Shot by Ho misfires. Rebound on the floor, scooped out of there by Jeff Gear. Lawrenceville with the basketball. They look in the right corner to Marty Simmons. Simmons checked off in that portion of a 2-3 zone by Dan Perry of Flanagan. Inside to Bill Anthony. Anthony finds himself double teamed. The 7-footer Braxic behind him. Reese in front of him. Off to Ho from Gear. Inside to Simmons. Tries to take it inside on Braxic. He shoots. He got it. Basket's going to count. Foul on Braxic. Marty Simmons with a super power move to the inside.
Strong. And the foul was called on Gundy. 14, not Braxic.
Well, I'm sure that
That was an interesting picture to see all 5 defensive men inside the blue painted area.
Marty Simmons completes the three-point play. Simmons with 9 thus far, 16-14. Flanagan by 2 over on-charging Lawrenceville. Matt Shireen dribbling left against Ernie Ho. Braxic is posting high. Here's Shireen. Shireen doesn't quite to the baseline, as you know. It comes out to Perry. Bounce pass inside to Scott Reese. Now back out front. Controlling is Perry. Perry looks to go to the baseline. Double team on Braxic. Simmons behind him, and then Ho will help out, or Gear will sag back in front. Now Braxic, when he goes high, of course, doesn't get that double team pressure. Matt Shireen to Reese. Reese makes the save. Far sideline. Shireen into Braxic. He turns. He shoots in and out. Rolled out on him. The rebound, Jeff Gear.
He missed it, but he's still a tower of power in there. He's really strong, and he's a big factor in the game.
2:38 to play in the first half. Flanagan by 2 over Lawrenceville, the defending state champions. Trying to be the first ball club to ever win it, back-to-back, undefeated both times around. And the first state title game ever, matching 2 undefeated basketball teams. Simmons on the iron, no good. Tipped by Leasty, followed by Simmons, blocked by Braxic. Tipped up in the glass by Braxic. Retrieved in the corner by Reese. Great save. Great save. Swats it back into Matt Shireen. Flanagan still leads it by a pair at 16-14. 2:05 for the half. Here's Shireen. Checked off by Simmons. They lob to Braxic. Simmons back on Braxic. Braxic nails it. It's off. Turnaround. Right-handed push. 18-14 Flanagan.
Had no trouble going over Marty Simmons. About a 7-inch difference in their size.
Now Simmons working on Braxic. Leans in. Scores. Basket's going to be good, and the foul on Braxic, and Jerry Poole is irate. Poole wanted the call the other way. See what you think here, Keith.
Okay, the ball inside again. He may have called it with the body because the arms look clear, Art.
Marty Simmons, the one-man scoring gang in this state this year, now has dumped in 7 in this quarter, 11 for the ball game, trying to complete a three-point play that will pull Lawrenceville within a point. Free throw is good. It's 18-17. Flanagan has led throughout. And we have a timeout here at the Assembly Hall with 1:47 to go in the half. It's Flanagan by 1, and we'll be back at the Assembly Hall in just a minute. Big D is certainly the story so far tonight.
It certainly is. And you know, Marty Simmons having to be responsible for Bill Braxic on the other end. When you have to concentrate that much defensively, it can't help but take something away from your offense.
And yet he still is scoring in a low-scoring ball game. Simmons, as we mentioned, with a total of 12 points thus far out of his team's 17.
And
go ahead.
Once again, the one-year scoring record in Illinois, 1 year by one player, the late Mike Duff, 1097. Simmons had 1067 coming into this game. He needs 31 tonight to break the one-year scoring record in Illinois. He has 12.
Did you know, Art, only 10 people have ever scored 1,000 points in 1 year. 8 of them boys, 2 of them girls.
All right, Shireen's pass is intercepted. Leasty picks it off, and here is Lawrenceville down quickly. Marty Simmons holding. Simmons to Bill Anthony to Jeff Gear. Lawrenceville with a chance to take its first lead in the ball game, I believe. I don't think they were even up 2-0. They have been down throughout. Here is Anthony. To Gear to Anthony. Look at the pressure on Simmons. Shireen sliding in front of him. Braxic behind him. Simmons now swinging to the high post, left side of the lane. Here's a drive by Ho. Pulls it up. Braxic deflects it. Batted way, way out front, and Gear scrambles at the timeline. Leaps high in the air, swats it back in. Ball knocked out of bounds by Matt Shireen. Shireen was there, so was Marty Simmons. Suddenly we had a volleyball game for a moment or two. Play to be made in by Jeff Gear. Under a minute, 52 seconds to play in the first half. Battle for the state Class A championship in Illinois. Art Kimball, Frank Pisoni, and Watsika basketball coach Keith Baldwin. With all of the action from the Assembly Hall before a huge crowd tonight. Hope you're enjoying it. Gear low to Simmons, collision. And the foul goes to Scott Reese of Flanagan. First foul on Reese.
There are going to be a lot of decisions to be made in this ball game, as close as these people are to one another. That foul went against Flanagan. Marty Simmons to the line.
Flanagan now has 5 fouls, so that means it's a 1-and-1 situation. Boy, when the bonus goes into effect in a ball game, can be vitally important, particularly in an airtight game. Note Marty Simmons, free throw form for. He will now take the bonus. 13-point performance for Simmons thus far. 18-18. Simmons can give Lawrenceville the lead right here. Headed for Indiana University. 6'5", 215-pound senior. Second one is up and off. And it's an 18-18 ball game. We have a jump ball as Brian Gundy was tied up by Jeff Gear. Marty Simmons had a chance to give Lawrenceville its first lead. Free throw caromed away. But then Gear tied up Brian Gundy. And Flanagan, despite the height differential there in favor of Gear, got the basketball, and Jerry Poole wants him to play for one shot. Matt Shireen well out on the floor. Driving against Ernie Ho. Shireen to Gundy. Braxic left side of the lane. He's the tower on the left side of the lane. They're kind of overplaying him. Simmons behind him. Down to 12 seconds. Here is Gundy. Gundy looking. Gear playing great defense. Well out to Braxic on the floor with 7 seconds. With 5 to Shireen. Shireen pulls it up with 2 seconds. Rebound Perry, and she's going to stay tied at halftime. Well, what a great half of basketball we've had in this battle for the Class A state championship. It's a pick'em contest right now for sure at the halftime break. Flanagan 18 and Lawrenceville 18, and one of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. All right, we're going to have the presentation of the 3rd and 4th place awards here in this Class A boys basketball tournament. To the voice of the Assembly Hall and Tom Trent.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to midcourt for the presentation of the 3rd and 4th place team and individual awards for the 1983 Boys Class A State Basketball Tournament. Making the presentations will be members of the Illinois High School Association Board of Directors and administrative staff. Presenting medallions to the squad members of the 4th place team will be Dr. David Turner of Porta High School in Petersburg, who serves the IHSA as a member of the board, and Dr. Nicholas Manos of Niles West High School in Skokie, who serves the IHSA as a member of the board. At this time, please meet the Ducks of Havana High School, who finished the 1983 season in 4th place with a record of 26 wins, 6 losses. Please meet the principal of Havana High School, Mr. Robert Emmy. The head coach at Havana, Bob Gregridge. Assistant coach, Ken B.
Away with 10. Matt Shireen and Scott Reese with 4 apiece. And Brian Gundy hasn't scored, has picked up a couple of fouls. That's the 18-point total for the Flanagan Falcons. For Lawrenceville's defending state champions, Marty Simmons with 13. 2 for Ernie Ho and Bill Anthony. 1 for Tim Leasty. No one, as you can see, in foul trouble. Now team statistics. Lawrenceville from the field, 7 of 24. Flanagan, 8 of 16. Lawrenceville getting the more shots. Flanagan with a 50% mark, 29% for Lawrenceville, but it's really a somewhat academic. They're tied at halftime. Free throws, 4 of 6 for Lawrenceville, 2 of 2 for Flanagan. Rebounding, this is a pivotal figure, I think, Keith. 14 for Flanagan, 12 for Lawrenceville, almost dead even. Turnovers, Flanagan with 5. They only officially list Lawrenceville with 2, but we were talking about that, and we'll have to go with that, but it seems like the Indians have perhaps turned it over a bit more than that. So here it is, 18-18 at halftime. Let's get to Frank Massoni. Frank, you have the all-tournament team, and let's pass that information along.
Be glad to, Art. Thank you. And the all-tournament team in the first instance, Associated Press selection. The first team, Marty Simmons of Lawrenceville and Bill Braxick of Flanagan, Brian Sloan of McLeansboro, Trevor Trempe of Havana, and Mike Deemer of Freeport-Aquin. That's the first team, Associated Press. Second team, Kurt Reed, McLeansboro, Lowell Hamilton, Chicago, Providence, St. Mel. Brian Gundy of Flanagan made the second team. Michael Parker, St. Mel, Tom Schertz, Tuscaloosa. Now you go down to United Press International. I'll do it quickly. The unanimous choices, Marty Simmons, Bill Braxick, Brian Sloan, and Trevor Trempe once again. On the first team this time, though, Lowell Hamilton from Providence, St. Mel. On the second team, Kurt Reed, McLeansboro, Mike Deemer, Aquin, Kevin King of Havana, Michael Parker, St. Mel, and Matthew Shireen of Flanagan.
And we'll review that again before we sign things off this evening. One of your network sponsors is Stauffer Chemical Company. Set to go with the second half of this battle for the state Class A championship. Third place this evening went to McLeansboro over Havana, 58-52, and another fine ball game. But this one, Keith Baldwin has been even Steven, 6-point lead a couple of times for Flanagan early. I think they even had it out to 8 on one occasion, but Lawrenceville came clawing back, and there's very little to choose right now.
I think one reason for the low score, of course, one thing is the poor shooting percentage of Lawrenceville, but the other is that tightly packed zone defense of Flanagan's. Lawrenceville's having to pass the ball so many times to get it to Marty Simmons because Gear and Ho refused to take that wide open 15-footer from out front.
See if we have any major strategy changes in the second half of it. We're set to go. Flanagan in white, moving to your right. And to your left is Lawrenceville, and the Indians have the opening jump of the second half. Bill Anthony has hustled and got position. Here is Ho. Ho to Gear. Gear, Anthony, Simmons, Leasty, and Ho, the combination that has gone the distance so far for Ron Felling's Lawrenceville Ball Club tonight. They're shooting for an incredible 68th straight victory. They've won 67 in a row. Of course, that is the new state record. They cracked it at 65, tied the Quincy mark at 64, then cracked it in the Super Sectional at Charleston, which was only Tuesday night. Seems like weeks ago now. There's been so much happened since then. Here is Jeff Gear well out on the floor. No shots taken as yet at the start of the second half. Gear to Leasty. Simmons is in behind Bill Braxick. You can hardly see Simmons. Leasty. Lawrenceville very, very patiently finding that defense, getting stickier and stickier. It's packed inside on the perimeter. Gear shot misses and Braxick rebounds. That's exactly what Flanagan wants to force Lawrenceville to do. They want to, I think probably Jerry Poole figures if Ron Felling's going to beat him, he's going to have to do it on the perimeter. Here's a pass intercepted by Simmons. And of course, here's a man capable of winning a ball game inside or outside for you. Simmons to the free throw line. Right side to Ho. Right corner. Back down Leasty to Simmons. For two. Marty Simmons now with 15 points.
He went right into the heart of that zone defense that time.
20-18, Lawrenceville by 2. Brian Gundy for the Falcons. Working on Jeff Gear. Two fine defensive ball players squaring off. Matt Shireen, his ball club down 2. Right corner to Gundy. Back to Shireen. Lob into Braxick. Braxick is double teamed, and the foul is going to go on Jeff Gear. Foul number 2 on Gear. They're trying to pinch a 10 around Braxick. That's the first time Lawrenceville has had the lead in the ball game. 20-18. It was on the shot by Simmons. You may recall Simmons tied it with the lead into a 1-and-1 free throw. That was Ron Felling you saw on the screen with a few words of instruction. Been a tough tournament for all of the coaches here. Jumper Shireen misfires. Gear with the rebound. Little guard crashes the defensive board. Marty Simmons down the sideline. Working inside. Comes cross court. To Ernie Ho. To Simmons. Ho has a screen for him, but sliding through the screen quickly was Scott Reese. Defensively inside to Simmons. Ducks around Braxick and lost the ball out of bounds. Marty Simmons tried to force a move inside. Third turnover officially charged to Lawrenceville. We have them with 6. Officially, they have 3. Flanagan has the basketball. Feed off to Bill Braxick. Braxick down to Gundy. Gundy back out to Matt Shireen. 20-18. Lawrenceville by 2. Third period of the battle for the state Class A championship. The lob to Braxick. Braxick on the baseline. Turns, shoots. He got it. Basket counts. Foul on Gear. tied once again.
Hey, watch Bill Braxick as he gets that pass inside, turns, faces up against the basket, goes up very nicely for the basket, going for a three-pointer.
20-20 with 5:29 to play. Third quarter. Bill Braxick at the line. Braxick with 12 points out of his club's 20. The 7-footer nails the free throw. Three-point play by Braxick. Flanagan goes back into the lead by 1, 21-20. It was 18-18 at halftime. 10-6 Flanagan at the quarter. Ernie Ho for Lawrenceville. A nail-biter developing here in the Assembly Hall. Ho at long range. Rebound, Bill Braxick. Braxick off to Matt Shireen. Coming up behind Shireen was Leasty, but Shireen heard him coming, lowered the dribble. Now Matt Shireen inside the free throw line. Won't go. Braxick with the rebound. The big guy powers up and scores. Bill Braxick rolls it home on the inside. 23-20 Flanagan.
Right over the top of Marty Simmons.
Lawrenceville, defending state kingpins, been ranked #1 all year. Flanagan was ranked #2. Here's Leasty in the paint for the short jumper. Leasty's first field goal, 23-22. We're going to say Flanagan was #2. Then they were supplanted by Providence St. Mel in that slot. St. Mel lost to Lawrenceville by 2 here in the quarterfinals. 56-54. Flanagan dropped back to 3. So you have the 1 and 3 teams in the final poll playing for the title. Braxick's turnaround effort misfires. Marty Simmons with a key rebound. Simmons brings it across. 23-22 Flanagan. Not quite to the halfway point in the game's third quarter. Ernie Ho holding to Jeff Gear. Back to Ho. Left corner of Bill Anthony. Back to Ho. Ho cut off by Gundy and Shireen. To Gear. As Flanagan really compacts that zone defense, Keith. They really have a attempt pitched around Marty Simmons down low.
And they still refuse to take the shot from out front.
Here's Gear. Gear backpedals. Maintains the dribble. Flanagan, you can see the sag on Marty Simmons. Simmons number 50 in red. Now he rolls baseline right, trying to get out of the traffic. They're not going to get the ball to him inside with Braxick in front of him or beside him. And here is Simmons tripped up as he tried to fight his way through the zone. He goes to the floor. No whistle. Looks a little bit disgustingly over at the bench and at the officials. Jumper by Ho. Finally, out of a very, very patient and admittedly somewhat frustrating effort to get the ball inside for Lawrenceville, Ho put it down on the perimeter, and the Indians lead by 1, 24-23. Flanagan back with the basketball. 3:07 for the third quarter. Gundy to Reese. Shot up and off, no good, and a foul on Leasty. Foul number 1 on Tim Leasty. Scott Reese will be shooting a pair.
Okay, isolated over here on the weak side is Reese. Nice bounce pass to him, and he powers into the basket. He doesn't get it, but he will go to the line for 2.
Don't both these teams help on the ball on defense so naturally and so well?
They really do. And of course, they both have to, Frank, because of the nature of guys like Braxick and Simmons. You just can't take them one-on-one, not at this level. 24-24. Scott Reese can give Flanagan the lead. He does. The Falcons, a high school of 132 enrollment, nudged on top at 25-24. Flanagan won the 1A football championship in 1974 with Bill Braxick's younger brother Jim at quarterback and several older brothers from other members of the squad also on that football team. Ernie Ho for Lawrenceville. Ho to the baseline. Over Braxick. Braxick got a piece of the basketball. Bill Anthony, though, out of traffic, pokes it up and in.
Big play by Bill Anthony on that deflected shot.
26-25, Lawrenceville by a point. Dan Perry loses and then fouled. Retaliation foul on Perry. Gear stole it. And then Dan Perry fouled him, but that's the first foul on Flanagan in the third quarter.
The quick hands of Jeff Gear.
And we have a timeout. 2.5 to go for the third quarter. Lawrenceville by 1, 26-25. One of your network sponsors, DeKalb Pfizer Genetics.
Time 2 undefeated teams have ever met in the championship game here at the Assembly Hall, and we hope you enjoy our coverage and our game. Hope you enjoy Illinois high school basketball. If you have comments, write us. High school basketball, box 678, Bloomington, Illinois 61701. Box 678, Bloomington 61701.
26-25 Lawrenceville. Over Flanagan. The Indians with the basketball, Jeff Gear to Ernie Ho. Ron Felling up, directing traffic in front of the Indian bench. Bounce pass to Simmons. Marty holding high left corner. You can see the pressure on Simmons. Every time he gets the ball, he has 15 points. Only one bucket in this quarter. Ernie Ho. So Ernie Ho with a couple of pull-up jumpers.
Very important baskets. That'll have to loosen up that defense a little bit.
28-25, Lawrenceville by 3. Here's Brian Gundy out front for Flanagan. That's the biggest lead, certainly, that Lawrenceville has had. 8-point margin, the biggest lead in the fairly early going for Flanagan. Braxic, his ball club down 3. Eyes the bucket, the 7-footer launches it, little short, Serene, follows, got it, was fouled. And this in the ball game, Dave Parker, who just came in for Lawrenceville, picked up the foul as Matt Shireen, not exactly a spectacular rebound, Keith. He scraped it off the floor, followed, and got it through.
You'll see an example of being in the right place at the right time. On the floor, it bounced. Matt Shireen picked it up. Now he's at the line to try and tie the ball game 28 up.
Free throw, Shireen. We're tied, 28 apiece. It is a dandy. 1 minute and 42 to go. Third period. Lawrenceville 28. Flanagan 28. Like a chess match out there. Ho. Got another one. Ernie Ho, third field goal, third quarter. 8 points for the ball game. Lawrenceville by 2. 30-28. Matt Shireen. Ho dogs him. Shireen to the time stripe. Now Brian Gundy, Art Kimball, Frank Massoni, and Keith Baldwin with you. With the action from the Assembly Hall. This the 12th Class A state tournament, the 20th year of the Assembly Hall. And it has seen one of its great tournaments this weekend, no doubt about it. Shireen to Dan Perry. 30-28 Lawrenceville, 1:02 to go third quarter. Simmons playing behind Braxic, sagging in front of Braxic. Oh, double team on the inside. Gundy to Reese. Braxic now, as you see, is off the lane, left side with Marty Simmons on it. Here's Perry. He'll slide up to the screen from Braxic, but he can't use it. Back to Shireen with 43 seconds showing third quarter. Dan Perry. Lawrenceville leads it by 2. Gary Poole shouting instructions. Brian Gundy with 35 seconds to go in the quarter. Off to Shireen. Flanagan wants to tie in bucket. Long jumper. Shireen, no good. Rebound, Perry. Unprotected weak side. Dan Perry knocks it in. We're tied.
2 times in a row, Lawrenceville has left that weak side board unprotected.
30-30. Clock winding down. 16 seconds, third quarter. Out front, Gear to Ho. Ho has had the hot hand. 3 perimeter buckets this quarter. To Marty Simmons. Simmons crowded by Gundy. Gundy is sandwiched in a screen attempt. Simmons all the way to the baseline. Up and off. Great move by Marty Simmons. He got in close into about 5 feet. Couldn't get the shot down, and that's it. After 3, we're still tied. Flanagan 30, Lawrenceville 30. And one of your network sponsors, Country Companies Insurance. Well, these stations along the IHSA network, great to have them with us. Hopefully, folks are enjoying what is a tremendous Class A title game. 30-30. Free throw shooting so far. Flanagan led it perfect. 6 of 6. Lawrenceville 4 of 6. 8 minutes to go, Keith. Is it going to end in 8 minutes?
I wouldn't bet on that.
We haven't had an overtime yet, have we, down here?
Not this time.
Last year, you reminded me today, and I'd forgotten that Lawrenceville had to survive Herscher in an overtime in the semifinals. There's the opening jump of the final quarter. Lawrenceville's winning streak on the line. Flanagan's unbeaten streak on the line. The state championship for Class A schools on the line. Simmons with the miss. The follow by Leasty. The rebound, Braxic. The foul is going to be whistled on Tim Leasty. Or no, it's on Marty Simmons. Flat on his back on the floor. He picked up the foul, his second. There's your third period stats through 3 quarters. Lawrenceville 13 of 34 from the field. Flanagan 12 of 25. 38% for Lawrenceville, 48 for Flanagan. We gave you the free throw shooting. Rebounding, 19-15. Flanagan with an edge of 4. Turnovers, Flanagan with 7. Lawrenceville with 3. Bill Braxic at the line. First miss for Flanagan tonight at the stripe. The score remains 30-30. Lawrenceville scampers down. 7:41 to go. Ernie Ho. Ho against the Flanagan defense, which is man-to-man again, I believe it is, yeah. They're manning. At least on the right side, they're playing man-to-man. Looks like they're combination defense. What do you think, Coach?
I think it's a zone. I think they're just playing man-to-man whenever Simmons comes into their area.
Well, it sure looks zone on the left side where Braxic is. In other words, Marty Simmons is getting plenty of attention.
Yeah, they're not afraid to fall off of most of these other shooters. They don't mind it when the rest of them put the ball up.
All right, here's Fred Gear out on the floor. Jeff Gear to Ho. Another one.
They better start paying attention to Ernie Ho.
Ho with 10 points, all on perimeter shots. 32-30, Lawrenceville on the Ho jump shot by 2. Battle for the state title, Dan Perry to Gundy. Flanagan out of the Mid-State Conference. And of course, Lawrenceville out of the North Egypt Conference. Lawrenceville going for its 4th state title. Shireen! That's Shireen. Went down the lane, found the little seam. It's tied at 32. Lawrenceville won the state Class A title in 72, 74, and of course last year. Won it unbeaten last year, trying to repeat that feat this time around. Tied at 32. Jeff Gear. Gear works to Dave Parker. Back out to Ho again at long range. This time it misses. Tip by Simmons. Spectacular tip in.
Beautiful left-handed tip in by Marty Simmons.
34-32. Lawrenceville up by 2 as Flanagan brings it back down. 17 points now for Simmons. Bill Braxic answers. Braxic in the paint, ties it at 34.
When the game's on the line, who do you think would respond? Simmons and Braxic.
They both have 17 points. 34 apiece. Braxic knocks the ball away. Stolen by Gundy. Gundy is fouled by Gear.
Again, it's the power of Braxic and the strength. People bounce off of him like they're made out of styrofoam. He's so big and strong, 250, and he really is a power in the middle.
Big foul. That's number 4 on Jeff Gear, and as Keith Baldwin was pointing out, very important to this ball club. Now, they have a good player to put back in Bill Anthony, but Gear does some things Anthony doesn't do. Anthony's a better scorer.
He sure does. Jeff Gear tried to force that ball inside that time to Marty Simmons. Gundy was dropping off, trying to protect in the middle, and picked up the foul.
In all fairness to Brian Gundy, he is probably the weakest free throw shooter on this Flanagan squad. He's at the line 1-1. Would like to make these. Tie ball game. He got it.
56% foul shooter on the season. But it doesn't matter if you stick him in right when they need him.
Never fails me. You say a kid's a poor free throw shooter, he makes them. When you praise him, he misses them. 35-34 Flanagan. Second throw, Gundy. Up, off, no good. Leasty with the rebound. Flanagan with a 1-point lead. Lawrenceville with the basketball. Across Ho. Out front to Anthony. The ball rolls out of bounds, and the indication is that Flanagan touched it. They did. Inbounded by Lawrenceville, very close to the time stripe.
Lawrenceville's not in the bonus yet, Art. We might make note of that.
That is true. Matter of fact, only 1 second-half foul has been called on Flanagan. Here's Bill Anthony faking the push with the left hand. Ho on the left wing, and now Gundy's out a little closer in that portion of what we're going to call a 2-3 zone. Basically, Ernie Ho, Lawrenceville down a point with 5:18 to go. Ho to Marty Simmons. Simmons being checked off by both Shireen and Gundy. Gundy comes right up to about the letters Indians on his chest out there. As Simmons at 6'5". There's Ho. No good. Rebound. Parker. He follows. He got it. Dave Parker. First field goal. Lawrenceville by 1. 36-35. Scott Reese. Reese to Dan Perry. Perry answers soft right-handed jumper. Perry makes it 37-36. The Falcons by a point. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. The clock dancing along really in nobody's favor right now. Lawrenceville brings it down. The Falcons have a 1-point lead. Marty Simmons left corner to Leasty. Leasty to Ernie Ho. Ho looks at that zone defense. Bounce pass right to Bill Anthony for the left-handed jump shot. Nothing but net. Anthony pours it in. His third field goal. 38-37 Lawrenceville. They're really trading baskets right now, but so many things are happening in between the swap of buckets that you don't really get that impression. Anything but a wide open ball game. 4 minutes and 5 seconds to play. Lawrenceville by a point over Flanagan, 38-37. Brian Gundy. Now look to see if we can find out where Braxic is. He's in the paint right now. Now he slides out left side, and they go to Dan Perry. On Perry is Leasty defensively. Here is Shireen. Shireen's pull-up jump shot. Back iron, great rebound, Marty Simmons. Simmons pulls it down. Lawrenceville with a chance to go up by 3. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Lawrenceville leads at 38-37. And a timeout taken by Ron Felling. I think we'll see a little change in strategy here. We may see Lawrenceville spread it out. 3:37 left to play. Lawrenceville by 1 at 38-37. And one of your network sponsors is DeKalb Pfizer Genetics. Keith Baldwin, is this the kind of game you anticipated?
Well, I anticipated a very close basketball game, but I think we all thought there'd be a lot more scoring in the game than this. Been excellent defense played on both parts.
Defense is the key. 38-37 Lawrenceville by 1, 3:37 to go.
For 12 years, Country Companies Insurance has been presenting this Class A boys tournament on television. Country Companies and its nearly 1,000 agents hope you'll join us next weekend as we'll have the boys AA and then the girls championship games on March the 26th.
We're looking into the Flanagan huddle there as youthful Jerry Poole, the second-year head coach, 57-3 record. Played for the late Bob Beals at Mendota High School, was a tremendous high school player himself. Then went to Quincy College and also was a great baseball prospect at one time.
If they would choose to spread it out, again, we point out that Flanagan can take some chances because they are not in foul problems.
Well, I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Flanagan has extended its zone a little bit. Well, there's no spread yet. Nothing resembling the four corners. Lawrenceville with the ball on a 1-point lead. A long, long time to play. 3:23, but Ernie Ho got another one down. Ernie Ho with 12 points. Perimeter shooting. And now Ron Felling wants some pressure on Flanagan. He wants them to come full court. They didn't do it that trip. Shireen off to Gundy. 40-37 ball game. Lawrenceville by 3 with 3:04 to play. Brian Gundy back to Matt Shireen. State Class A title resting on the line. 2:57 left. Perry to Gundy. They're looking to Braxic. They've got to go to the big guy, I would think. Braxic turns. He rolls it off. Outer iron. Rebound. Dave Parker for Lawrenceville. And Lawrenceville, a team that makes the big plays with the chips on the line, gunning for their 68th straight win, their 4th state championship, their 2nd in a row, leading by 3 at 40-37. And now we'll see them spread it out.
And when they smell that wind, they're awfully hard to handle.
Flanagan's got to come out and challenge. Remember, the Falcons have only one second-half personal foul. 2:19 to play. Lawrenceville ball handling. Tim Leasty holding it. 3-point lead to the Indians. That's 40-37, and here is a foul on Gundy. But they happen to waste. Situation is not going to put Lawrenceville at the line, unless they call it a flagrant foul or a shooting violation. Marty Simmons over conferring, you can see, talking to Ron Felling, and now Felling's going to send Jeff Gear back in the ball game. And Ron is trying to become the first coach to win 4 state titles. Previous wins 72, 74, and 82.
And 72 is the inaugural of the Class A.
Correct. And now Felling takes his second time out of the quarter. 2:11 to play. Timeout for the Lawrenceville Indians. They lead by 3, and one of your network sponsors, Stauffer Chemical Company. 2 minutes, 11 seconds left, and the biggest problem facing Flanagan right now is getting possession of the basketball. They can't even put them to the line. Sometimes the lack of fouls can hurt you, Keith, because there's no opportunity for a missed free throw here.
That's right, and several seconds will tick off before the foul is made. Of course, then on the other hand, we remember Lawrenceville has struggled at the free throw line throughout this tournament.
And for Lawrenceville, Gear is in, Parker is out.
Going to the ball handlers, no doubt about that. Gear riding with 4 fouls, remember. All right, here's Jeff Gear, lobs it in to Marty Simmons. Simmons holds with 2:08 left. Dan Perry digs in on him for Flanagan. Knocked away by Shireen, but taken back by Anthony. Now remember, Flanagan's very quick. There's Bill Braxic at 7 feet, out on the floor, playing nose up on Leasty. Well out on the floor. Right corner, double team, baseline to Ho. Ho passes up the shot to Bill Anthony. Lawrenceville trying to put it away with a 3-point lead. The Indians trying to successfully defend their state title, and Flanagan digging in desperately, trying for the steal.
They need to foul, Art. They have to make the foul.
Here's Anthony, and he is fouled by Matt Shireen. Now it's going to take 2 more fouls before Flanagan will put the Indians at the line. 1 minute and 36 seconds remaining.
I think it's essential they make a foul very quickly now. If they don't get the steal on the inbounds pass, they need to foul immediately.
And foul twice, probably. All right, it'll be inbounded by Jeff Gear. That's Ron Felling with the clipboard, standing up just to the left of Gear. All right, here's Gear looking. Gets the ball to Simmons. Simmons to Tim Leasty with 1 minute and 32 seconds left. Braxic playing defense over there, and the ball is knocked out of bounds. It'll belong to Lawrenceville. Lawrenceville got themselves trapped far sideline, and that's the last thing Ron Felling wants, is to dribble or pass yourself into a trap situation. But unfortunately for Flanagan, the Falcons knocked it out of bounds, and now Gear bounces the ball off the knee of Scott Reese, and Marty Simmons is shaken up. Looks like he might have twisted an ankle.
I think he took a charge, or tried to, on one of the Flanagan players, and really got knocked into, and he bounced right back up, and these kids on both teams are really tough.
Must have been Brian Gundy. He and Gundy shook hands real quickly. Here's Simmons double team, clears off to Gear with 1 minute and 24 left. Lawrenceville by 3 at 40-37, trying to put it away. Ernie Ho cross court to Jeff Gear. Gear to Leasty. Leasty being hemmed in, back out to Gear. Works off to Ho. Gary Poole wants a foul. Here is Simmons. There he is on him.
So it doesn't matter who they foul now.
No.
They can foul any of them.
They tried to foul Gear and didn't get the whistle. And finally, Ho is fouled by Gundy.
The reason we say it doesn't matter, they're not in the 1-and-1 yet. They could have fouled Simmons or anyone that had the ball.
Now, of course, Lawrenceville wants the two-shot situation. Intentional foul, they're not going to get it. You very rarely get that in this situation. Got to really be flagrant, which that was not, but we're under a minute. 58 seconds left. Lawrenceville still by 3. 40-37, they've got the basketball. Bounce pass, intercepted. Here is Brian Gundy. Gundy to Matt Shireen, pulls it up, it is no good. Rebound, Braxic and Simmons collide. Braxic really went crashing to the offensive board. He and Marty Simmons collided, and the foul goes to Braxic. This is the hardest contact of the tournament.
Watch this crash of two All-Staters. Here's the steal. The missed shot by Matt Shireen, and watch the collision.
Braxic went in there full tilt. Marty Simmons was there full tilt. And Simmons will be at the free throw line, as that is the 5th foul on Flanagan. And we're going to have a timeout taken by the Falcons. 51 seconds left. Lawrenceville 40, Flanagan 37. We'll be back at the Assembly Hall in just a minute. The timeout to try to poke that ball away. And finally, Gundy came up with a steal. Then Matt Shireen had a pretty good shot. And a great rebound by Marty Simmons, who always seems to be there to come up with a tremendous play. Pulled it down, and Bill Braxic did what you have to do in that situation. If you're trailing by 3, he really battled to the boards, and he just ran right over Simmons. Simmons is the line 1-and-1. That's the first time we've had a bonus situation insofar as Lawrenceville is concerned in the second half. And now, once again, Jerry Poole calling his second timeout with 51 seconds left, and we'll remind you to Cal Pfizer Genetics with more than 1,100 dealers here in Illinois. Proud to again be a part of these IHSA telecasts. We invite you to be with us next week. You think it's been fun this week. Next week, Frank Bassoni, the double A's come in here. Nobody can even pick a favorite there, much less a champion.
Well, that is for sure. It's up for grabs in the Double-A, and any one of the teams that comes in can win the whole thing, and we could have a whole weekend of tight basketball games and a lot of fun, and I sure hope the fans will join us next weekend.
Been a great tournament here. As you pointed out, Frank, after kind of a slow start, a couple of one-sided ball games early in the quarterfinals. Last night, this afternoon, and tonight, including the third-place game, have been classics.
Art, I might mention that each team still has 3 timeouts remaining. I think we'll see a lot of them called before this 51 seconds has ended.
Ball game's a long ways from over, but the little things now will turn it. Here is Simmons at the line, 1-and-1 when play resumes. If he gets them both down, of course, then you've got yourself a 5-point ball game for Lawrenceville. If he misses the lead in, Flanagan gets the rebound. Suddenly it could be a 1-point ball game if they come down and score. Well, let's don't speculate. Let's just join you and watch it. Marty Simmons at the line. Magnificent ball player. Came into this ball game with 108 points in the state finals, has 17 here tonight. Marty Simmons with all the pressure in the world, nothing but net. 41-37. Lawrenceville now by 4.
Look at Ron Felling. He smells something, Art.
He's stalking the sidelines, isn't he? Second throw, Simmons. He got another one. Lawrenceville leads at 42 to 37, 5-point bulge. That's Shireen down for Flanagan. Shireen driving, trying to move on Bill Anthony to Braxic. Braxic twists, shoots, scores. Bill Braxic, and immediately Jerry Poole gets a timeout period. And the Keith Baldwin forecast is coming true. They are going to use the timeout. Our situation, Keith, 39 seconds. 3-point ball game. Lawrenceville 42, Flanagan 39. Still up for grabs.
Okay, we'll just set the play for you now. Remembering, of course, Lawrenceville can run the baseline on the inbounds play. Flanagan will be coming up with a strong denial type defense, trying to get the 5-second count on Lawrenceville. I would anticipate once the ball is in, if they don't get the steal, we'll see a foul immediately.
You like to, as a coach, to put your big man on the ball on the inbounds pass? In other words, will Braxic go on the ball on the inbounds play?
I would definitely do that, yes.
All right, we're going to see Braxic pulling Flanagan back within 3.
You just knew they would come into Bill Braxic.
Matt Shireen with the feed. 42 seconds showing on the clock at the time. There he goes.
He never brought the ball down anywhere where anybody else in the court could touch it.
No, Braxic has very sound fundamentals, and I had the pleasure of seeing him as a freshman. And the thing that impressed me then, Frank and Keith, he had a great deal of poise. A little awkward, perhaps, but he has improved by leaps and bounds from year to year, and will get nothing but better. He's headed for Illinois State. He's already announced. Marty Simmons announced very early for Indiana. Ball will be inbounded now by Jeff Gear with 39 seconds left. Lawrenceville leading 42 to 39, and Braxic is not on the ball in the inbounds pass. Immediately, Perry fouls Simmons. Dan Perry immediately fouls Marty Simmons, and the strategy may be to force Lawrenceville to make free throws. Just absolutely force them to. 1-1 with 37 seconds remaining. Marty Simmons will be at the line. Ball game that has been dripping with strategy. Here's Jerry Poole, the young coach from Flanagan, shouting instructions to his ball club.
You realize Poole's only lost 3 games in 2 years?
I know.
Unbelievable.
Coach girls basketball at Toluca. His first teaching job. Simmons missed it. Rebound. Scott Reese. 42-39 Lawrenceville. 39 seconds left. Now you can see the inset, the clock down to 30 seconds. Here is Matt Shireen. 3-point lead for Lawrenceville. Shireen on the perimeter. Airs it. Rebound. Cleared out of there. The Indians have it. Holding is Marty Simmons, and he's fouled.
And that's a 2-shot foul, I believe they call this time. That's it.
2-shot violation. Simmons will be at the line. Foul was on Dan Perry. Third on Perry.
There's a world of difference now when you don't have to make that first one.
There's Ron Felling talking to his ball players. Ron directing them out on the floor. Simmons at the line, 42-39. 20 seconds. All that remains of this battle for the Class A state championship. Simmons free throw in and out. He'll have one more throw. Still a 3-point ball game.
Ron Felling is yelling no fouls and also telling them we have a timeout. Jerry Poole is kneeling on the side of the court.
One more throw to Simmons. He got the second one. High arching free throw style. 43-39. 18 seconds. Up quickly for Flanagan. Long jumper, Perry. Scrapes the outer rim. Rebound, Shireen. Hits underneath. Scramble in the corner. Shireen again. Followed by Reese and a foul. And the foul, I think, is on Tim Leasty of Lawrenceville. Boy, the intensity and the pressure of this ball game has been tremendous. Leasty commits the foul, his second.
Jerry Poole, of course, wanted that ball inside to Braxic. He got a couple of hurried shots that he didn't want. You know, young people sometimes forget that 20 seconds is a long time in a basketball game.
Ron Felling wants a timeout period. Lawrenceville's going to take it right now. Lawrenceville leads it by 4 over Flanagan at 43-39 with just 9 seconds to go in the basketball game. Country Companies Insurance and the nearly 1,000 Country Companies agents in Illinois are happy to be co-sponsoring these basketball telecasts, and we certainly hope you have enjoyed the presentation. Next week, the AA schools vie for the state championship. 43 seconds all that remain, Frank.
It's been something special, that's for sure. And I would like to congratulate right now, I don't know how much of a chance I'll get later, the Flanagan Falcons, undefeated coming into this game. They've played a lot of good teams along the way. They blew Havana out in the early part of the season, and they have just been a superb basketball team, running into an Express that has lasted now 67, trying for 68.
Yes, indeed. The Falcons have had a magnificent year, a magnificent 2 years, as far as that's concerned. They're down at the present time by 4. Only 9 seconds remaining, but the clock has stopped. They have a man at the free throw line. I think it's Brian Gundy, isn't it?
Brian Gundy for 2.
And they're good enough
1 and
defensively
1.
that
Yep.
they can steal the ball even from Lawrenceville and get a crack to tie it if he knocks 2 in here. They can put the defensive pressure on. Flanagan's quick, and they can turn it over. So the game is not over.
Gundy at the line. 4-point ball game with 9 seconds left. Lawrenceville leading, but the free throws are pivotal. Brian Gundy's charity toss, in and out, no good. On the rebound, a foul. Leasty and Marty Simmons were there with Scott Reese in the middle. And the foul is going to be called on Scott Reese of Flanagan. Well, that just about seals it. We're down to 8 seconds. 1 second went off. Falcons needed the free throws, couldn't get him to drop. And certainly Lawrenceville could pretty well ice it at the line right now. Leasty at the free throw stripe. He is 1 out of 2 tonight. Well, Lawrenceville is playing well and making the big plays without Marty Simmons having a fantastic night. 13, 15, 17, 20 points for Simmons. A good night for most players. Marty kind of made his own monster. And as a result, you expect him to score 35 or 40, but it hasn't been that kind of a ball game. 43-39. The timeout, I believe, was taken by Flanagan. Next weekend, we'll be here with the Class AA tournament and DeKalb Pfizer's Genetics. And it's more than 1,100 dealers here in Illinois. I invite you to join us on the IHSA network for all of the games, as well as the 2 girls championship games on March 26th. So the high school basketball season is winding down, gentlemen, but not over by a long shot.
Well, Marty Simmons didn't make the individual 4-game record, nor did he break the all-time season scoring record. But as I mentioned earlier, he did become the 8th boy and the 10th person to ever score 1,000 points in one basketball season in the state of Illinois.
And of all the players who have broken those records, none have been involved in a 67-game winning streak, which now reaches 68 if they won it. None have been involved in back-to-back undefeated state championships. So I think Marty had his druthers. He'd prefer the way things have worked out, don't you?
Fourth leading scorer in the history of the state of Illinois.
Now, that's not bad because this state has produced its share of great, truly great players. Leasty at the line. 1 and 1. Got it. That's why I feel the record for Lawrenceville is so phenomenal. It's occurring in Illinois, one of the basketball-rich states, and winning 68 in a row in this state, I thought was impossible.
And they're hugging Ron Felling on
What
the
does
bench.
Ron Felling do
He wins.
for an encore?
Well,
What else can he ever do?
second throw by Leasty is short. Down to 5 seconds, 44-39. Lawrenceville's going to win it again. Harry jumper, no good, and it's all over. Lawrenceville did it again. The Indians in another hectic struggle. Tremendous struggle with the Flanagan Falcons, a matchup of unbeaten.
By the way, that's Ron Felling's daughter that came over, Lisa, cheerleader on the team, to greet him.
Here is Ron and Jerry Poole, arms around each other. The veteran coach, 16 years experience. The young coach in his 2nd year. They both had unbelievable basketball seasons. The picture tells it all. Here's the way they finished in Class A. Lawrenceville number 1, Flanagan 2. McLeansboro finished 3rd. Havana finished in number 4 position, but both with great basketball teams. So Ron Felling has just become the first coach to win 4 state titles. And think of the territory that takes in. Think of the great coaches this state has produced. Felling has won it in 72, 74, 82, and 83. 68 wins in a row for Lawrenceville. Their 2nd successive unbeaten state championship. One of your network sponsors, DeKalb Pfizer Genetics. Well, as you can see, bedlam still reigns on the floor of the Assembly Hall for the presentation of the second place and state championship awards to Tom Trent.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to midcourt for the presentation of the first and second place team and individual awards for the 1983 Boys Class A State Basketball Tournament. Making the presentations will be members of the Illinois High School Association Board of Directors and administrative staff. Presenting medallions to the squad members of the second place team will be Mr. John Dowling of Watseka High School, who serves the IHSA as a member of the board, and Mr. Charles Smith of Homewood Flossmoor High School in Flossmoor, who serves the IHSA as vice president of the board. At this time, please meet the Falcons of Flanagan High School, who finished the 1983 season in second place with a final record of 30-1. The principal of Flanagan High School, Mr. David Zumdahl. The head coach of Flanagan, Jerry Poole. Assistant coach, Brent Erzman. The manager of the Falcons, Ed Ermiger. Manager, Brent Johnson. Number 12, Matthew Shireen. Number 54, Bill Braxick. Number 14, Brian Gundy. Number 20, Dan Perry. Number 32, Scott Reese. Number 24, Scott Gehrig. Number 42, Lee Ringenberg. Number 22, Jim Tarman. Number 44, Gary Karstens. Number 40, Jim Mallory. Number 30, Brad Weekman. Number 10, Tim Tufty. And the player who became ill today, number 34, Rob Rushley. There you have the Falcons of Flanagan High School. Presenting medallions to the first place team will be Mr. Gail Borton of Frankfurt High School in West Frankfurt, who serves the IHSA as secretary of the board, and Dr. Joseph Sergio of Steinmetz High School in Chicago, who serves the IHSA as president of the board of directors. At this time, please meet the undefeated Indians of Lawrenceville High School, who finished the 1983 season in first place with a final mark of 34 wins and no losses. The principal of Lawrenceville High School, Mr. John Frohock. The head coach of the Indians, Ron Felling. The first man, by the way, the first man to win 4 state championships. The assistant coach is George Grubbs. Assistant coach, Rick Curtis. Number 50, Marty Simmons. Number 32, Tim Leasty. Number 14, Jeff Gear. Number 20, Ernie Ho. Number 15, Bill Anthony. Number 54, Dave Parker. Number 30, Darren Blair. Number 40, Mike Shoulders. Number 10, Jay Baker. Number 52, Keith Frohock. Number 24, Jeff Joins. Number 44, Chris McKinney. Manager Tim Seitsinger. And the team physician, Dr. Bob Kirkwood. Presenting the second place trophy will be H. David Fry of the Illinois High School Association, and executive secretary will head coach Poole and the captains of the Flanagan Falcons please step forward to receive your second place trophy. Mr. Fry. Captains Shireen and Braxic. Presenting the championship trophy will be Mr. L.L. Astroth, who serves the IHSA as its executive secretary. Will head coach Ron Felling and the captains of the Lawrenceville Indians step forward to receive your first place trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, our first and second place winners for the 1983 state tournament. Here are the individual point totals on this.
Frank Bissoni back on the floor of the Assembly Hall, where a very emotional scene has just taken place. And we're going to have Keith Baldwin step in and join us here. 44 of the 39 was the actual numbers of the final score of the 68th consecutive victory by Ron Felling and the Lawrenceville Indians. An unbelievably staggering accomplishment.
You know, so much emotion and so much love out on the floor right now, Frank.
And certainly Lawrenceville had no easy way to go through here. I mean, it was just tough teams all the way.
There was no question about it. They had to work very hard for both games today. But what can you say about a streak like that, about Ron Felling, about the incredible play of the Lawrenceville Indians?
It's been really special. Flanagan certainly had a great basketball team and a great season, and I know that Jerry Poole and his kids are feeling very great. Can we get the man right here to walk around in between us?
My God, Frank, thank you, thank you.
It's we're in the midst of history right now.
Well, you know, my God, I tell you what, I've never been so happy. These kids, who would have thought 700 and some days ago that we would have annexed undefeated back-to-back state championships? It's something that every coach dreams of. The record, these kids never quit. Simmons is now 122, and these seniors in 7 losses in his 4 years. I don't know what to say other than the fact I'm so happy for these kids. They have busted their fannies so hard. The character, they could have quit anywhere along the line. But the pressure's been on them. The pressure's on me. I put pressure on them. My goodness, what else? What else? I mean, I don't know. I feel like now that I...
Think back with me to a year ago when you won 34 and lost none and had an undefeated championship. Did at any time, can you remember a time that crossed your mind?
I thought that we might be able to do it again. Highly improbable, Frank. A lot of luck, but I'll tell you what, when you got a player, the caliber and the character of Marty Simmons and the rest of our seniors, this young man right here has had the most fantabulous career that anyone. But
let's let him step in between us.
But before, come here, Marty. But Marty Simmons, the basketball player, does not equal this young man off the court. His character, his leadership, everything about this young man. And Marty, so help me, I love you.
What do you feel right now?
Oh, I feel so great. Last year it took a little while for it to hit, and it's already here. It's just hard to believe it's all over. I'm so glad to be a part of these guys. You know, they're tremendous players. They know how to play team ball. We play good defense, and it's just a miracle we did it.
A miracle wrought by hard work and a lot of love and a lot of people working together. What about the community of Lawrenceville and the fan support you've had, Marty?
Oh, it's tremendous. Through the season, we were winning maybe 20 and 30 points, and they were beginning to watch games. But we have so much confidence in our fans that when the tournaments got going, we knew there wouldn't be no more watching.
Well, you know, Frank, Ron and I stood here last year. We talked about it earlier at this meeting before the tournament started. You know, you didn't get to enjoy your third straight championship because you knew this year was coming. Now you're going to enjoy this one, aren't you, old buddy?
Oh, I tell you what, my God, four championships back-to-back. It's almost mind-boggling. I don't know what to say other than the fact I'm extremely proud for my team, for our coaching staff, George Grubbs, Rick Curtis, Dr. Bob Kirkwood, Mike Goodwin, our manager, Tim Seitsinger, and all the people behind the scenes that's pitched in to support these young men. But the character goes to their upbringing and their unlimited competitiveness and will to win.
And one other thing I think Marty Simmons would like to say, one thing he would like to talk about, is the team that surrounded him, that helped him get what he became perhaps one of the finest basketball players we've ever watched play in Illinois. And I know, Marty, that you just love your teammates very much.
There's no doubt about that. I love every one of them. They get me screens. They know when to get me the ball when I am open for a split second. They're not unselfish. They know that coach wants the ball to me. They get it to me as well as they can. And yet they know when I'm not open, they got enough confidence to jump up and stick it in themselves.
We've been joined also by Tim Leasty. And Tim, let's tell us what's going through your mind right now.
Right now, what's going through my mind is I just think about my brothers. Rick's got 2, now I've got 2, and I just want to tell Coach Felling that I think he's the greatest coach, it's a high school coach in the world, and I just want to congratulate him on his 4th tourney victory.
Tim, I was watching you during the awards ceremony when you were standing out on the court, and there was a lot of emotion in your face right then. Did it finally hit you that it had all happened, the dream had come true?
Yeah, it hadn't hit me the whole tournament, and then just right as soon as I hugged Coach Felling, it just got to me, and I couldn't help it. I had to let it show. So,
Ernie, come in here, big guy. Ernie Ho, this young man hit some key shots for us in the second half when we were struggling. And I'll tell you what, Big E, come in here. He's been an outside shooter. You know, I really don't think that we have blown people. I really don't think we got into our running game. I don't think we got into, people didn't see us pass and execute. I've got to give the other teams credit, but everybody thought that we were going to be struggling because when we get into close games that we might choke it. These kids, they're never going to quit. When we get here, we expect to win. Ernie, you did great.
Go on, Coach.
Ernie, you really stuck in some crucial baskets from the outside, and it helped loosen up that Flanagan zone. Yeah. Tell us about the game itself. How did you feel about it?
Well, to start out with, I wasn't really hitting outside, and I didn't really have that much confidence, but I'm a streak shooter, and when I start feeling it, you know, I'm going to let it fly.
We had the people from Lawrenceville and the press and the media say to us earlier, you haven't seen the real Ernie Ho yet. He can fill it up from the outside, and what a game to pick to do it.
Yeah, I'm really glad it happened this game when we really needed it most.
Frank, I'd like to ask Ron, you know, you called a timeout with a little over 3 minutes to go, a 1-point lead. You came out and Ernie Ho hit a jump shot for you. What'd you say with 3 minutes to go?
Well, I think Ernie will remember we said that they're really keying on Simmons. They're back in there. Ernie showed the ability to knock in a couple. He was in the flow. His confidence is there. I wanted Jeff Gear to push the ball in the seam as far as he could, drop it to Ernie in his spot, and I told Ernie to shoot the ball. And he felt confident, and he shot the ball. And I think we've been tentative in our play all weekend up here. But Ernie got out of it tonight at an opportune time, and that just shows you the caliber and character what Ernie Ho's medal is made of. But, you know, he played extremely well. His job on Renard Edwards, all-state guard, still sticks out in my mind as a great defensive effort. And people don't give us credit. Well, I know we're a high-scoring machine, and we've got Simmons, but defense is the bottom line, and our kids know it.
And it's been a constant for Lawrenceville for a long time, so congratulations to Ron Felling, to Ernie Ho, and all your teammates. An absolutely remarkable record, which we may never, ever see the likes again. Right now, let's take a break and go to Art Kimball.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. And we do have the final figures then on the ball game. A tremendous battle for the state Class A championship, 44-39. It winds up. The victory goes to Lawrenceville, and Frank and Keith and very, very complete detail with their post-game interviews with Ron Felling and, of course, Marty Simmons and Tim Leasty and Ernie Ho. I think have told you the story very completely. About all that remains that we haven't covered are the actual numbers. Individual scoring, first for Lawrenceville. Marty Simmons led the way with 20 points. Ernie Ho did have 12, 6 perimeter jump shots. 6 points for Bill Anthony. 4 for Tim Leasty. Dave Parker had 2. Jeff Gear played but did not score. For the Mid-State Conference representative coming in undefeated to the title game, Flanagan. Leading the way with 19 was Bill Broxick, the 7-foot center. 9 points for Matt Shireen. 6 for Scott Reese. Dan Perry contributed 4. Brian Gundy had 1. I think that's the first time all season long that Jerry Poole has gone with just 5 players in the ball game. That's what he went with tonight, and it was a classic 44-39 Lawrenceville the winner. Insofar as shooting for the ball game is concerned, Lawrenceville, in capturing the title, hit on 18 of 43. That's .419 shooting. A little bit off their norm, but of course that is typical of the very, very tough defense that was being played. Flanagan, on the other hand, didn't have any piece of cake with a very tough Lawrenceville defense either. The Falcons were 16 of 37. They shot 4 of 32, and percentage-wise, just slightly better than Lawrenceville, but the Indians got off 6 more shots, 43 to Flanagan's 37. At the free throw line, the Indians on 8 of 13, 7 of 10 for Flanagan. And would you believe, with all the talk about physical basketball, defense, zones, man-to-mans, and everything, the rebounding wound up dead even, 25 apiece. Just a moment or two left. Let's switch you over to Frank Bissoni.
Thank you very much, Art. And with us is a man who has to be very proud. He's the executive secretary of the IHSA, Mr. L.L. Liz Astroth. And Liz, what a spectacular show the IHSA put on for the fans.
Well, we thought it was a great show, but all the plaudits should go to the players, their coaches, their schools, and the fan support. It was just tremendous day of basketball. The semifinals were tremendous. Any team could have won that this afternoon, therefore could have been a champion as I see it. But really, this was an administrator's dream as far as I'm concerned. I've always had a goal that our 8 quarterfinalists would all be undefeated. And tonight we got 1/4 of it. We had 2 undefeated teams playing for the championship, and I really appreciated that. And I think they put on a great show for the fans.
Does that mean we can look forward to 6 more sometime, you think, Liz?
If I could range the pairings just right, as some people say, Keith.
Well, we're going to have, obviously, a great tournament coming up again next week because there's certainly no cinch winner there.
No, I believe this is a wide-open tournament in the AA, the big schools next week. I have no idea who might win. I wish I could tell you, but I don't.
Have you ever heard of anything in sports to equal this in Illinois, as Art pointed out on the broadcast, 68 consecutive wins in a state like this with great teams like this?
I don't think it'll be duplicated probably in my tenure and lifetime. I doubt if it will, where they go 2 years undefeated back-to-back and 68 wins. We've had some close ones. I think Quincy and Thornridge came close to duplicating that effort, and Mount Vernon, my memory may be short after that.
Sure.
Well, you know, we talk about the pairings. I think a lot of people would be interested. How do we decide who we play when we come down to the state tournament, Liz?
Well, Mr. Kimball, who was one of the announcers tonight, we always invite him over to the office and 2 other people, and we have the rolling of the peas. It's a leather container that Art says it came over with Methuselah, and we just roll it out, and it's strictly a blind draw. And then we pair them up by alphabetical.
Liz, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on a great tournament.
Thank you.
Well, for Art Kimball, for Keith Baldwin, this is Frank Bissoni, and we have to say that we have had something special here this evening. The first time in the history of the tournament, an unbeaten team 2 years running. It's Lawrenceville, the champion, 68 wins in a row. They win 44-39. And so until we greet you next Friday with the AA, this is Frank Bissoni, Art Kimball, Keith Baldwin. Good night, everybody.
You've been watching another championship event. Your network sponsors have been DeKalb Pfizer Genetics, with more than 1,100 dealers in the state supplying Illinois farmers with a full line of quality seed products. Stauffer Chemical Company, and Country Companies Insurance, and the nearly 1,000 Country Companies agents located throughout the state of Illinois. This is the Illinois High School Association Network.